Hey folks, so I recently finished a speedrun from 10 to 70 in 29 minutes and 25 seconds. The full footage that is posted on my main channel if you have not yet seen it. But one of the main new tricks that we used in that speedrun, which is why we were able to get it done so quickly, is Heart of Fear Boss 4 resets. And Boss 4 is this guy, right here, Winglord mel'jarak. Now, why is this really impactful? Well, I did explain it in a follow-up PowerPoint presentation that I linked, but I technically didn't really make a separate video or anything clearly explaining why this works, why this is so efficient, and the fact that it is the fastest way to level from 35 to 60. And specifically from 60 to 70, you're going to be using XP tokens from the mail. That one's kind of a no-brainer, at least right now. That is the fastest way to bypass that because the last 10 levels are really slow. And to demonstrate this, I'm going to be leveling up this character right here. This is one of my alt accounts. And you can see by the stats, this character has 240% additional experience on its cloak, and I have a bunch of XP tokens sitting in the mailbox from Mogashan Vaults and the 4 bosses of Heart of Fear leading up to here. I think I technically did MSV twice. I played this character like weeks ago, and then I just dusted it off to showcase it in this video. So you may have different XP percent on your alt cloak when you're doing this. It doesn't really matter. This is still fast no matter what XP you have on your cloak. And I would recommend you do the standard strategy of saving your tokens. Obviously, do heroic dungeons from 10 to 25. That's still going to be the fastest way to get up to there. Do MSV, do more heroic dungeons to get up to 35, and then do this trick. It's a good trick, but unfortunately it requires 35, which is maybe a little bit more restrictive. And the other main issue with this, which is why it's not going to be useful for every single person out there, is this does require a second account or a person to help you out. It's not the kind of like starter edition thing where you just get a level 20 to boost yourself, because this requires you to kill a raid boss, and you need to have a decently geared level 70. You either need to be boosting characters on a separate account, or you need to ask one of your friends to help you out. Now, that being said, as long as you have friends, I know not everybody does, so if that's the case, sorry, this may not be for you, but if you can get them to head over here for like 30 minutes to boost your character up, it is a very quick process, as you will see. Now, with that said, there are a few other small tricks that we need to talk about for how to do this correctly, because the trick itself, you haven't seen the speedrun, is really simple. You kill all of these mobs here, the Srothic Amber Trappers, the Korthic Elite Blade Masters, and the Zarthic Battle Menders. Each of them gives experience equal to a boss kill, because mob XP scaling is really broken, and specifically, if you are in a raid group with only 2 people, you get the full value of the experience by killing them. This is something that's a little bit too complicated to break down here. I have a more detailed slide on it in that PowerPoint presentation I mentioned at the start. I'll link that in the description if you care to read it. But all you really need to know for the purposes of this video is that the more people you have in a raid group, the less experience that your character is getting from mob kill experience. And this trick is entirely mob kill experience. These guys just happen to give a ton of it each time, and they are resettable. If you either drag Winglord out of the area here, or you vanish, which is what I'll be doing, to reset the boss, then all of these guys will respawn. You can kill them again to get the full experience. It's really powerful. But there are some things that we need to do to optimize this. Now, for starters, you just heard me say that you should use Vanish, so make sure you bring that along with you. I'm going to swap my Tinker out here. And for your meta gem, there are options here. I personally like using Oblivion Sphere. I have seen some people use Thundering Orb, and while it can work, it's a little bit iffy just because if you kill the mobs too quickly and then the orb keeps going, you can do a lot of damage to the boss. And that is our main concern here, because my Demon Hunter right now has 629,000 threads. That is a lot. I would reckon that the vast majority of you watching right now are not going to have that many threads. However, even if you have like 100,000, 200,000 threads, this trick can be a little bit weird in that you may accidentally kill the boss and brick the reset trick. It's odd because the boss gets like a massive damage reduction. I don't know where it's displayed on his buffs, but he takes basically no damage while the mobs are alive. But the moment that every single one of these mobs dies, it's very easy to accidentally kill him. Now, ideally, if you're vanishing at the right time, the boss should just immediately reset and there's no problem. But sometimes the vanish will break. And I'll talk about that as we do these resets. there are some things that can cause issues. And if that does happen, and you have certain effects that do damage to the boss, you can kill him before you manage to drag him over here to reset him. I have accidentally done it way too many times. So in order to avoid that, we're going to go over here. This add-on's Narcissist, by the way. Every single video people ask me, so I'm just getting that out of the way. I'm going to take off anything that gives me bonus damage. So I'm going to take off, like, Lightning Rod, that's a dot. I'm going to take off Searing Light, Sunstrider's Flourish, Wildfire, Meteor Storm, Explosive Barrage, Slay, Mark of Arrogance, Hailstorm. I'll keep Quick Strike because at this point it's not like it's going to be that bad. And I'll put on one or two other effects that it's probably just going to give me a little bit of damage, but it won't realistically kill the boss. And the problem with this is if you have a really weak cloak or you don't have max item level gear, you may just want to keep all your gems on. If you know for a fact that there's zero risk of you one-shotting the boss, then just make this faster for yourself. But there is a genuine chance that if I fuck up and don't vanish properly, this guy will just fall over and melt. Because while he's taking no damage, I am building stacks of my debuffs on him. And then the moment he becomes attackable, my debuffs will just shred him 100-0 in no time at all. And with that being said, I think I can show you the very first reset. So especially for Oblivion Sphere, this one, while good, is tricky because if you send it too early before you get into combat, it can despawn and not actually do damage. But I'm going to run in here. I'm going to pop Immo Aura, Fellblade in. I'm going to drop Oblivion Sphere, Essence Break, and then I want to vanish. And you can see there, I actually got his health really low accidentally because I was waiting a little bit, and I took off basically all my Tinkers. It's spooky. And if you fuck up and you kill the boss, well, you're done for the next 24 hours. So you need to be really, really, really safe about it. Now, as you can see, after 30 seconds, the boss will respawn, and he will bring all the mobs with him. So if you do this perfectly, you can get one reset every 6 to 8 seconds-ish. If you're really slow, 10 to 12 seconds is pretty reasonable still. Anything beyond that, you may want to focus on gearing up your boosting character a little bit more before you try to perform this, because it's not too hard to get to a stage where you can do an entire reset in 10 to 11 seconds. Then you wait 30 seconds, you do nothing, and they pop back up all over again. So just one more time to show you. We're going to drop an Oblivion Sphere. We're going to do this, Essence Break, and vanish. Okay. Now, I do need to be careful sometimes, because if you use Immolation Aura, I should probably stop using it, because now I'm killing him so fast it's actually not expiring by the time I go to vanish. A single tick of Immolation Aura is one of the things that can break your vanish, pull the boss again, and then things get really spooky. Now, if this does happen, and this is what I'll show on the next reset, do not panic. I'll quickly list off some abilities. I know Volley can sometimes cause you to stay in combat. Any pets can sometimes break your vanish, such as Dancing Rune Weapon, A-Bomb Limb, any persistent effects like Immolation Aura will sometimes break vanish. Be careful about using any of those. I would say if you're playing like a class and you're not familiar with this, play around with various different abilities to see what can and can't break vanish before you try this. Because the last thing you want to do is accidentally test it out on the boss, realize your vanish doesn't work, and then you're locked for the next 24 hours. But here, I'll show you what happens when you try to reset him normally. So I'm going to do this. And I'm not going to use vanish. Just going to drag him out this way. And boss is taking a little bit of time, but there we go. So that is a successful reset as well. They both accomplish the same thing. The reason why vanish is better is obviously it does it faster, and there's less of a chance of the boss dying out to your dots as you're kiting away. If you're taking off all your Tinkers, that shouldn't be an issue though, but really the vanish strat is a lot safer, but you should practice this, dragging him out just as a backup in case your vanish gets broken. Now, the last thing that I want to show that can potentially go wrong when doing this Heart of Fear reset, so we're going to pull the boss. We're just going to do the same thing as normal. Do all this. And okay, all the mobs are dead. Now, this time actually worked out perfectly. He sometimes will cast Rain of Blades. Normally, this actually doesn't happen until quite a while after all of the mobs have been killed. This time he did it instantly, which very rarely happens. I'm not sure what causes it, but worked out perfectly since I was about to showcase that anyway. But the real problematic thing here, if he does it, it doesn't look like he is, so I'll kite him out. If you're really slow to kill some of these mobs, they can put you in an amber prison. And in the Amber Prison, you can't do anything, and you effectively get chain CC'd. I think it's technically one of the guys that comes along with him. I'll resurrect my character here. It's not a big deal if your character dies, by the way, especially because all the mob kill experience is from the actual mobs themselves, so as long as your character dies after all of them have been killed, it doesn't really make a huge deal. But you want to be very careful about, if you're too slow and your character gets chain CC'd, you may not be able to do anything. It may take a really long time, which is why, like I said, you want to be able to reliably kill these in 10 to 12 seconds before any of those abilities go off. Or at the very least, kill all of the mobs with Wing Lord before 10 to 12 seconds. But alright, I think I have overly explained basically everything there is to know about how to do this Heart of Fear reset. But just to show you how quick it is, we can see here, in the time that it has taken me to do this explanation, which has been approximately 11 and a half minutes, according to my timer right now on OBS, my character has gotten from 39 to 47. So that's already really good. But just from 47 to 50, I'm going to time it, or not 47 to 50, 47 to 60. I'm going to put this timer here, and we'll see how long it takes doing optimized vanish resets. And I'll go ahead and start the timer here. Do this. And vanish. Alright, that's the first reset, and now I'm just going to go ahead and skip to the end whenever my Warlock has managed to reach level 60, and then we'll see how quickly it is from that point to opening the mailbox, just to show you that this is a ludicrously fast leveling method and is definitely better than Heroic Dungeon Spam. So now you can see that I'm on my Warlock in this footage. It's a fresh Warlock. I haven't put any gear on it. And I'm level 58. Now just take a look at how much experience I get by doing this reset, because I want to explain something real quick as to why you don't do this all the way to 70. Alright, mobs are dead, vanish, reset, boom. So that was 58 and a half. My Warlock is now almost level 60. So that was an insane amount of experience, but let's see how much experience it gives on the next reset relative to level 60, because obviously I'm going to get there. Let's see how close I actually get to level 61. Alright. Pulling. Drop Oblivion Sphere, Essence Break, and vanish. Right, let's take a look. So, level 60, but only level 60 and a half. So, really not that much experience relative to what I was getting before, and that is the main issue here. The experience gain relative to your level starts to drop off drastically from 60 onwards. And honestly, from 60 to 61, it's not even that bad. We still got half a level here, and this requires way more experience than level 59. But we'll do one more reset just to demonstrate, and you'll see how little it gives into 61. So hop over to my Demon Hunter, Fellblade in, Oblivion Sphere, boop, 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 kill the mobs, and vanish. Okay, there we go. It worked. And 61, but yeah, that was maybe 75% of a level, if that. And if I keep going here, it's just not really going to give me that much. It takes about twice as long to level just from 60 to 70 as it does from 35 to 60. Probably more. It's maybe like 3 times the amount of time that it takes. It's really, really, really long. And it's just because of how the experience scales at those higher levels, and the fact that the mob kill XP doesn't really scale proportional to how much XP is required. But that was how much time it took me to get there. Now we're just going to drop an Ohuna Perch. Sorting thing is messed up. And this is a universal trick. It has nothing to do with Heart of Fear, but I'll show it here since a few people have asked. So this add-on is called Bulk Mail Inbox. This is the easiest way to sort through stuff. I can sort threads of experience. Obviously, I've already taken all mine from the box. But if I... or it would be thread of experience. Yeah, I already have all them. But let's say I did have experience threads sitting around. I could go ahead and grab those. But when you reach the end of the run, you just type bonus. Can't spell. Press take all. And then it's easy as that. There's a lot of different add-ons floating around that accomplish the same thing. I've tried a few of them. Personally, I feel that Bulk Mail Inbox is the most convenient, just because it lets you directly search for whatever it is that you need. Now, I actually don't have enough experience here to reach the end. I only did a handful of heroic dungeons early on, and then like 1 or 2 raids, so it's not going to get me all the way there, but honestly, this works out well, because now I get to show you from 67.5 how long it takes me for these last, effectively, 2 levels. It's more like 67 and 90%. So, timer's still running. It's effectively, I'll pull when it's 8 minutes, just to make it very easy to refer to. And obviously, you never want to be in this position. There are weak auras that you can get to make this process a lot simpler and tells you exactly when you should open the mailbox. But I'm just doing it like this because I don't really feel like doing all that calculation just for something that is effectively meant to be a demonstration. I'm not actually trying to speed level this warlock here. I'm just trying to show you how this process works so that you can do it yourself. But once again, that was the first reset. I only got, honestly, not too bad overall. That was, what, 1/3 of a level-ish? But now I'll go ahead and cut to when we're about to hit level 70 just by doing these resets, and you'll be able to see how long that process takes. Alright, we're about 1 reset-ish away from finishing. Honestly, for only 2 minutes, really not as bad as I thought it would be. I remembered this being a lot slower than it actually is. So it goes to show, even if you don't do a lot of heroic dungeons, and you just want to race up to 35 as quickly as you can, this is still a viable method for 60 to 70. But if you do have a reliable level 20 booster, or even a really geared level 70 if you want to use that, I still believe that for those first few levels, doing dungeons and then banking the experience is a more reliable method. This is just really good specifically for 35 onwards. And yeah, that's, wow. Yeah, that was really quick. Now, I will note that obviously this is a relatively broken method for leveling. However, my video came out a little while ago at this point, earlier in the week, I think 4 days, and we're almost at the end of the week, and Blizzard still hasn't nerfed it whatsoever, and there are 1 or 2 minor things from my video that Blizzard has nerfed, and if you've noticed that, I am looking for workarounds. I have a few ideas that I think would work, but, you know, won't go into super deep detail on that. But the more important thing is that this is a really broken method that somehow has not been touched. It works just as well right now as it did 4 days ago when I posted my video, which Blizzard has very clearly seen, since they made some other very specific adjustments that tell me that they watched my video. So if it's not fixed now, I'd be kind of surprised if it gets fixed at all. And I would really doubt that Blizzard cares too much about a slightly faster way to level in MoP Remix, because it's already really fast as is. Hopefully it doesn't get changed. Hopefully I don't need to eat my words and take down this video because, like, I don't want to spread misinformation, right? But hey, I expect this is going to be a consistently great way to level alts up until the end of the event. So I figured I'd finally make like a guide dedicated just to showing you how to do this. But that's it. If you have any questions, if there's something I forgot to mention, make sure to ask me in the comments. I will do my best to respond to all of them. And if you found this video helpful, I would encourage you to toss it a like so that other people can find it as well. Thanks for watching the video. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.